वाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 13, Verse number 64. Please repeat after me. Shanair Shanaihi Atha Utthaya Vimrujya Lochane Mukundam Udvikshya Vinamra Kandharaha Krita Anjalihi Prashraya Van Samahitaha Sa Vepuhu Vepatuhu Gadgadaya Ailata Ilaya Shanairathotthaya Vimrujyalochane Mukundam Udvikshya Vinamra Kandharaha Kritanjalihi Prakshayavana Samahitaha Save Patur Gadgadayai Latelaya Shanairathotthaya Vimrujyalochane Mukundam Udvikshya Vinamra Kandharaha Kritanjalihi Prakshayavana Samahitaha Save Patur Gadgada Yailatelaya Shanairathotthaya Vimrujyalochane Mukundam Udvikshya Vinamra Kandharaha Kritanjalihi Prakshayavana Samahitaha Save Patur Gadgada Yailatelaya Shanairathotthaya Vimrujyalochane Mukunda Udvikshya Vinamra Kandharaha Kritanjalihi Prakshayavan Samahitaha Save Patur Gadgada Yailatelaya Shanairathotthaya Vimrujyalochane Mukunda Udvikshya Vinamra Kandharaha Kritanjalihi Prakshayavan Samahitaha Save Patur Gadgadayailtelaya Shanairathotthaya Vimrujyalochane Mukundam Udvikshya Vinamra Kandharaha Kritanjalihi Prakshayavan Samahitaha Save pathur gadgadayai laya. Mataji's, please. Amazing. Reading word to word translation. Shanaihi, gradually. Atha, then. Utthaya, rising. Vimrujya, weeping. Lochane, his two eyes. Mukundam, at Mukunda, Lord Sri Krishna. Udvikshya, looking up. Vinamrakandharaha, his neck bent. Kritanjalihi, with folded hands. Prashrayavan, very humble. Samahitaha, his mind concentrated. Sevepatuhu, Savepatuhu, his body trembling. Gadgadaya, faltering. Ailata, Brahma began to offer praise. Ilaya, with words. Translation and purport given by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. Then rising very gradually and weeping his two eyes, Lord Brahma looked up at Mukunda. Lord Brahma, his head bent low, his mind concentrated, and his body trembling, very humbly began with faltering words to offer praises to Lord Krishna. Purport. Brahma, being very joyful, began to shed tears, and he washed the lotus feet of Krishna with his tears. Repeatedly he fell and rose as he recalled the wonderful activities of the Lord. After repeating obeisances for a long time, Brahma stood up and smeared his hands over his eyes. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that the word Lochane indicates that with his two hands he whipped the two eyes on each of his four faces. Seeing the Lord before him, Brahma began to offer prayers with great humility, respect, and attention. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 10th canto, 13th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Stealing of the Boys and Calves by Brahma. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasha Swami Iti Namane. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatari. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So this is the verse for which Prabhupada, this is the last verse for which Prabhupada wrote the purport. Here we see the great and grand Lord Brahma is feeling very bad and is embarrassed for what he has done by stealing the cowherd boys and calves. And now he wants to make it up. That means he wants to correct his mistake by taking the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Here the word mentioned as Mukunda. Mukunda means one who gives eternal, spiritual and blissful life. by liberating one or freeing up one from the entanglement of modes of material nature. And that's what Brahma is looking at now. Brahma realized the fact that he has made a big mistake. And now he wants to free up from this particular mistake, or due to ignorance, he did this mistake. So he wants to come out of this modes of material nature and he wants to be liberated. That's what it is. Brahma bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kangshati samat sarveshu bhuteshu madbhakti labhate param. So he wants to come out of this entanglement. And how one can come out of this entanglement? By performing devotional service. That's what Brahma understood. Brahma understood that I have to perform devotional service. How one can perform devotional service? By understanding the real position, the constitutional position of a living entity, that he is not the master but the eternal servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that's what Brahma is understanding now. That for some time, for just a moment, he forgot that he is the eternal servant of the Lord. His constitutional position is that he is the eternal servant of the Lord. And he tried to be the master. And that's the reason he tried to check the greatness of the Lord, the power of the Lord. And even Krishna did not stop him. Krishna, being a supreme person, he is complete independent, and being the part and parcel, living on entity also has a minute independence. And Krishna never interferes in that minute independence. And Krishna did not interfere here as well. When Brahma thought that he is the master, Krishna did not try to stop him there. He said, okay, he is using his minute independence, thinking that he is the master, so let him use it, and we will make sure, Krishna said that he will make sure that I will make sure to make Brahma understand what is his real position. That's what the Lord Brahma understood. And when the moment he understood his real position, what he did? Here it is mentioned that he fell down like a golden rod. Now we'll discuss about this golden rod later. Please remind me if I forget. But here in previous verses it is mentioned that Brahma fell down like a golden rod on the lotus feet of Krishna and touched his feet. This is the nature of a devotee. That devotee, when he sees the Supreme Lord or the authorities or the senior devotees of the Lord, they simply pay obeisances. Simply pay obeisances to show their respect, their gratitude, and appreciate the greatness of the Lord. So that's what Brahma did here. After doing this, what Brahma did? Brahma, he performed Padabhishekam. He performed the Abhisheka to the lotus feet of the Lord with tears, with water of his tears. That's what here mentioned in the previous verse, that he performed Padabhishekam. Same like disciples perform Padabhishekam for their spiritual master, When spiritual master comes, they pay obeisances and they perform Padabhishekam. And here what Brahma is also doing. The Padabhishekam he is doing to his spiritual master, the Supreme Lord. How? With the water of his tears. And then after that, what he is doing? Here it is mentioned that Shanaihi Athuthaya. So here it is mentioned Shanaihi and Athuthaya, and in the previous verse also it is mentioned Utthayothaya. Utthayothaya means rising and falling. And here it is also mentioned that Shanaihi and Athuthaya. That means he is repeatedly rising and falling, paying obeisances by remembering the pastimes of the Lord which he just experienced. He experienced how beautiful the Lord is and how beautiful his pastime is. He is remembering those pastimes and he is rising and falling and paying obeisances again and again to appreciate his greatness. And here it is said, Shanai means gradually. He is rising, remembering, and again falling down. He is rising, remembering, and again falling down. And gradually, gently. That is what the devotee does. Devotee always appreciate the greatness of the Lord. More devotee appreciates the greatness of the Lord, more he gets attracted towards Krishna. And more he gets attracted towards Krishna, the more he appreciates his devotees. And the more he appreciates his devotees, the more he engages in the service of the Lord. And the more he engages in the service of the Lord, the more he appreciates the greatness of the Lord. And this cycle goes on, so intense to an extent that there is no limit. It just goes on, that he gets attracted, he appreciates his devotees, he gets engaged in the service, and because of the service he gets attracted towards the Lord more and more. Then cycle goes on. It's something like how we cannot measure, but then okay, if you would like to measure this, that the love of gopis for the Lord and the love of the Lord for the gopis is in a similar way. One cannot measure this. There is no measurement to this. There is no meter, there is no gadget which has been invented in this material world to measure the love of the devotees for the Lord and the love of the Lord for his devotees. So that was is happening here. That Brahma is repeatedly paying obeisances by remembering the Lord's greatness and the Lord's pastime. And after doing this, or Acharyas mentioned about this Shanai Athottaya, Jiva Goswami mentions, so I'll just quickly read, that why does he doing that? Why Brahma is doing this? Because Jiva Goswami said Shanai, gradually, slowly, it said, because he was unable to stop offering obeisances on account of an upsurge of bhakti, or it's because of numbness occurring naturally by the overpowering of an abundance of prema. So he is overwhelmed with prema. Because of that, Brahma is again and again paying obeisances. And after doing this, what is mentioned here? Vimrujya Lochane. Vimrujya means weeping, and Lochane means his two eyes. So, in the purport, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is clearly explaining that why the Lochane word is here. One can say that Brahma is four-headed. That means he has 8 eyes. But Lochane means 2 eyes. Though how one can understand that Brahma is weeping his 8 eyes or Brahma is weeping his 2 eyes. So Lochane means 2 eyes. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is clearly explaining this point, that Lochane indicates that with his 2 hands he wiped the 2 eyes on each of his 4 faces. And other acharyas explain this in a better way, in a more clearly, saying that now here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has explained that Brahma has 4 heads. That means 8 eyes he has. But Brahma has only 2 hands. So he is whipping his eyes of each face simultaneously. But other acharyas going deep into this and saying that when Brahma got up, he saw the Supreme Person, but as the tears are shedding from his face, they are gliding from his face, he couldn't see the Lord. So Brahma, he is whipping the eyes which is beholding the face of the Lord. That means the eyes which are in front of the Lord. So that after whipping the eyes, he can see the Lord and he can say Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam Chintamani Prakara Sadma Sukalpa Vriksha Lakshat Vriteshu Surabhir Abhipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Shatasambrama Sevyamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tama Aham Bhajami. So that he can clearly see the beautiful face of Krishna, who is Satchidananda, Vigraha. That's the reason Acharyas are saying that Brahma first whipped his eyes which are in front of the Lord. And as he has four heads, he has continued whipping the other eyes of each faces. And then, after explaining this, after seeing the beautiful face of the Lord, what he is doing here, it is mentioned he is whipping his eyes with two hands. That means like this. Generally, we see who does like this? The child, when he gets caught by his father, when he performs any mischievous activity and gets caught by his father, he cries, and while crying, then he whips his eyes with the two hands. This is what the exact situation happening here, that Brahma is no one but the child of the Supreme Father Krishna. And like a child, he realized the fact that he has made a mistake and he is weeping his eyes. And Krishna also being a Supreme Father, now when a child performs any mischievous activity, father what generally does, that he either scolds him, that he just punishes him, saying that, okay, what kind of activity you have done, this is not at all correct. Krishna being a father could have done this. When he understood that Brahma has stolen the cowherd boys and calves, Krishna would have punished him. Something like Indra, Indra, when he understood that Vrajavasis are not worshipping him, but they are worshipping Govardhan, what Indra did? Indra tried to punish them by Vraja, thunderbolt. But here, what Krishna has done? Krishna has not done anything. Krishna has said, okay, let him do his activity, I will perform my activities. And after some time, he will understand, Brahma will realize the fact, like a child realizes his mistake and then comes and says sorry to his father. He will come and he will ask for forgiveness. That is what the beauty of the Supreme Father. When we think about the God, someone thinks God as, if you obey his instructions, he will love you. If you don't obey his instructions, he will put you in the hell. Hell forever. That is what the general conception of God is in this material world. But that is not what the God means. The God means he is all beautiful, he is all merciful, he is all independent. He loves his devotees and devotees loves him. The reciprocation between him and his devotees is topmost. If someone makes a mistake, Lord never punishes them, but makes sure that they understand their mistake by putting them in a condition through which they will realize the fact that what their constitutional position is. One can ask this question, that what this particular material world has been created, why it has been created. If God is there in this material world, if one say that, okay, if God exists, why this kind of calamities are happening? Why one is undergoing Adhibhautika Klesha, Adhidaivika Klesha and Adhyatmik Klesha? Why there is Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi? All this indicates that Lord or Krishna wants us to correct by putting us in this condition so that we will correct ourselves, we will understand our constitutional position and then serve him eternally. That is what the only reason why Krishna or the God has created this material world. So, when Brahma understood that he made a mistake, what he is doing here? He is here mentioned, he is Vinamra Kandharaha. Vinamra Kandaraha means his neck bent. Kritanjalihi with folded hands. And Prashyavan, very humble. Samahitaha, concentrating his mind. Sa Ve Patuhu, his body is trembling. Gadgadaya, faltering, with a faltering voice. So all these are what? All these are emotions what Brahma is experiencing and exhibiting towards the Lord. Now, one can ask this question if one is really studying the scriptures, one should ask this question. Brahma is a buddhi. Brahma is not made of emotions, Brahma is made of all buddhi. Brahma is made of intelligence. Whole Brahma is made of intelligence. Intelligence means there are no emotions. There is analytical study. There is logic. There is a scholastic view. That is what Brahma means. From where these emotions are coming? From where these emotions are coming? So these emotions, Acharyas are mentioning, these are embodiment of Bhakti Anubhava. And that's what Brahma is experiencing this. Brahma is experiencing Bhakti Anubhav here, and Acharyas talks about this Bhakti Anubhav. For example, in Ujjwal Neelamani Kirana, which is written by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he talks about Anubhav here. Anubhav means what? Transformations produced in the mind and body due to experiencing ecstatic emotions. So we all know that who wrote Ujjwal Neelamani? Author of Ujjwal Neelamani is Rupa Goswami. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur took the essence of this Ujjwal Neelamani and published Ujjwal Neelamani Kirana. In this, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur talks about this Anubhav, the transformations. Now the Brahma, what he is exhibiting is the embodiment of transformations happening in his body, which is nothing but emotions. Anubhav. So here it is mentioned there are many types of Anubhav. And there are many like Bhava, Haba, Hela, Shobha, Kanti, Dipti, Madhurya. There are many types. But then what Brahma is exhibiting here is Bhava, Haba and Hela. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says the first transformation that is observed in an unaffected and composed state of mental equilibrium is called Bhava or Bhava. So this is what, when Brahma, when he realized his mistake, he got stunned. He got stunned. He was in mental equilibrium. He came in his real senses and he was stunned by seeing the beautiful feature of the Lord. The next is the condition which is indicated by bending of the neck and expansion of the eyes and eyebrows is known as Haba. And that's what here mentioned. What Brahma is doing? Vinamra Kandharaha. His neck is bent. And Kritanjalihi, with folded hands. And then he's showing one more ecstatic symptom, which is called when the breast throb, other ecstatic symptoms such as horripilation, standing of the hairs on end take place, and clothes loosen and begin to slip off. This is called Hela. And that's what is happening here. His body is trembling. Gadgadaya, his voice is faltering. So this is what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is mentioning. And the same thing is mentioned in Nectar of Devotion by Rupa Goswami. He says that Brahma is showing here are 8 symptoms of existential ecstatic love. What are those? Becoming stunned, perspiring, standing of the hairs on the body, faltering of the voice, trembling of the body, changing of bodily colors, shedding of tears and devastation. And Rupa Goswami further gives a scientific explanation. of these 8 symptoms. What he says, that how beautiful it is written, please hear this. When the vital force of life is in contact with the earth, one is stunned. Generally, we see that demigods never touch the earth, they are demigods. They are in the air. They always, whenever they come on the earth, they are in the air. They never touch their feet on the earth. But here, Rupa Goswami is saying, when the vital force of life is in contact with the earth, one is stunned. When the same force comes into contact with water, there is the shedding of tears. When the same force comes into contact with fire, there is perspiration. When the force comes into contact with the sky, there is complete devastation. And when that force comes into contact with the air, there is trembling, failing of the voice, and standing of the hairs on the body. And these symptoms are sometimes manifested internally and sometimes externally. And the pure devotee always feels such symptomatic expressions within himself, but being afraid of outsiders, he does not generally manifest them externally. So this is what the pure devotee is. Now here, Brahma couldn't really stop his existential ecstatic love for the Lord. And he is showing all these ecstatic emotions. Even though he is made of intelligence, he is showing these ecstatic emotions because this is a bhakti anubhava. And if we want to take an example of this existential ecstatic love, Rupa Goswami further gives an example. The same example Rupa Goswami is giving. Why Brahma is being stunned? Because Brahma understood that this cowherd boy was the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. And therefore he became stunned. And all of this sensory activity stopped when he saw all the cowherd boys again along with Krishna. Lord Brahma was so stunned that he appeared to be a golden statue with 4 heads. So that's the reason in previous verse, when Brahma realized his mistake, he fell on the ground like a golden rod. It is mentioned here in the verse previous to this, that how Brahma fell like a golden rod. Why he became golden? Because he was stunned. And that's the reason, when he was so stunned, he appeared to be a golden statue with 4 heads. So Rupa Goswami is explaining this. These are the symptoms of existential ecstatic love. And Rupa Goswami further goes on and talks about faltering of the voice. He says, why the faltering of voice? Because due to jubilation, this faltering of voice is happening. And that's the reason, if we see here also, Prabhupada, it is not mentioned in the shloka. It is not mentioned in the translation also. But Prabhupada mentions it in the purport, saying that Brahma, being very joyful, he is in jubilation. Brahma, being very joyful, shedding tears. And the same is mentioned by Rupa Goswami here. That faltering of voice happens when someone becomes jubilant, becomes joyful. Similar example we can see in Bhagavatam happened with Akrura. When Akrura saw Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead, his voice was faltering. And that's what Rupa Goswami gives an example. That a faltering voice due to jubilation was exhibited by Akrura when he was shown all of the Vaikuntha planets resting within the river Yamuna. When Akrura understood that Krishna was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he bowed his head to Krishna's lotus feet and with folded hands began to pray in a faltering voice. This is what the devotees are. And their relationship with the Supreme Personality. When devotee sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead, this kind of loving symptoms they exhibit. As it is mentioned in the 13th chapter, verse 56, that Lord Brahma, his 11 senses, jolted by astonishment and stunned by transcendental bliss, he became silent, just like a child's clay doll in the presence of the village deity. So, this is what is Brahma is exhibiting. And he now, one can say that the pastime is over here, but actually the pastime is beginning from this, because the next chapter is full of prayers. Give, I mean, prayers given by Brahma, and when he praises the Lord, this is the beauty of the Lord. The Lord is so perfect. When Brahma praises the Lord does not show any emotion. Lord is just simply standing and hearing Lord Brahma's prayers. At one point of time, Brahma starts thinking whether with my prayers, Lord is getting satisfied or not. But Krishna, being a supreme, he is not showing anything but just simply standing in front of Brahma and hearing those prayers. And so beautiful prayers Brahma offers to the Lord. And that is been in the next chapter given by Lord Brahma. So we'll stop here. This is what the Brahma or the pure devotees exchange with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even though Brahma made a mistake, he understood his real position. And after understanding the real position, being a devotee of the Lord, he asked for the forgiveness. Here we say that Brahma is morose. So sometimes being morose is also one of the good quality in a devotee. Why? Because when we deal with other devotees and when the conflict happens or two devotees don't go together, then the the uh, the sense of will not say hate, but then the sense of feeling bad comes up. And devotee is one who does not keep in his heart. He expresses, he opens up, he goes to another devotee and he tries to resolve the matter, he tries to resolve the conflict. He sits with him, he asks for the forgiveness. If I have done any mistakes, please forgive me, but this is what the situation was. This is how one should have faced that particular situation. That is the devotee means. Devotee, and now here in this case, Brahma could have just after understanding or after realizing the mistake, why he has to come down from his carrier. He would have understood, realized mistake. Oh, okay, I made a mistake. Oh, I understood who Krishna is. He's a supreme person. Okay, now okay, let me go back. But no, he came down. He came down and he asked for the forgiveness. So that is the nature of a devotee is. This is what really important one should understand. This I'm talking for me because I have to realize this, I have to understand this, I have to act on this. That when I do something and I understand that this is the mistake that I have made or that particular devotee felt bad, I should sort out, I should open up and make sure that that devotee does not have anything in his heart about me. This is one of the beautiful nature of a devotee, and that's what Brahma is exhibiting here by becoming morose and opening his heart in front of the Lord. That I made a mistake. You are my Aradhya. You are my supreme. You are the Satchidananda Vigraha. You are origin of all. Please forgive me. And then he starts his prayers. So I'll take a pause here. If you have any questions, any comments, please let me know. Yes, please. You have to be loud. Hmm. mm, mm, mm. Yes, yes. So there are multiple reasons to this. Uh, One of the reason is that Krishna wanted to perform this pastime. We all know, and Krishna wanted to perform this pastime. So for performing these pastimes, Brahma is acting in the role of coming under the mode of ignorance. For example, Arjuna is a pure devotee of the Lord. Why Arjuna has to ask this question that I'm completely, don't know what I'm supposed to do. Why I should kill my friends, my guru, my well-wishers. Why I have to kill them? Rather than killing them, I would just go on begging. I'll go to Himalayas and beg. Why he has to do that? The answer is that Arjuna is playing the role and coming under the mode of ignorance, so called, and that's the reason Krishna is taking an opportunity to give Bhagavad Gita or to tell Bhagavad Gita to every living entity. So similarly, Krishna wanted to perform this pastime to relish the love exhibited by gopis, and he wants to reciprocate in the same way. If we know the Brahma Vimohan Leela, that Krishna wanted to give love to love to gopis, because gopis were thinking, oh, how beautiful it would have been if Krishna would have become my son. I would have loved Krishna the same way the Yashoda Maya is loving him. I would have taken care of Krishna the same way how Yashoda Maya is taking care of Krishna. So the same affection, the same love, Krishna wanted to give it to gopis. So that is one of the reason Acharya mentions that why this particular pastime happened, because Krishna wanted to perform many things by performing this pastime. So one of the thing is he wanted to reciprocate the love which gopis are giving it to Krishna, and at the same time it is a lessons for us. These are the instructions for us that how devotee should act while performing the devotional service. How one should act in front of his spiritual master. How one should act uh, by taking the instruction from spiritual master. Devotee means what? Devotee means one who follows Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. Devotee follows the instructions of spiritual master, lives a life of a sadhu by seeing them, by experiencing them, by hearing of sadhu's life, and by living the life by following the injunctions of Shastra. So these are the pastimes Lord has performed, and Brahma is acting to show that how a devotee should act when he performs or engages in the service of the Lord. I hope it is clear now. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय।